Here we are once again live in the good old KQCK radio studios located in Santan Valley, Arizona. And what a beautiful damn day out there. 60 degrees or so it looks like.
That's right.
Oh, I love it. You know, last 5 days we have broke records. The coldest 5-day streak in Arizona since 1978.
Imagine that. And I was guessing 70s, late 77, so I'm close.
You were close. I think you were probably bordering there between 77 and 78. But
Right.
I'll tell you what, it just feels good to have the sun out there. The warm weather is back. It's going to get better from here on out. You can't beat January, for the most part, in Arizona. Welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen. This is Off the Top Rope Radio, heard exclusively on KQCKLive.com. We welcome you to the show. We're glad that you can be a part of our Wednesday afternoon with a fun-filled afternoon full of professional wrestling talk. Que pasa if you see us there on the video screens. If not, we're going to open up those phone lines here in a little bit as well. We'll take all your questions and comments like we usually do. And Joe C. will be getting writer's cramp like always from all of our wonderful fans out there who call us there each and every day. Every week, I should say. I wish it was every day. That'd be fun. But anyway, my name is Brian Shank. I'm the host of the program like always. And across me, pushing all the buttons and making things happen is Joe. I wasn't late. Carrero. What's up,
That's right. I wasn't late.
It's a little personal.
That's
joke.
the main thing.
Yeah. So I bet you had some girls in your day that you were lucky they were.
Got you some
not late.
whatever you said.
Not
Got
late
you some
either.
pretzels, by the way.
Yeah, you got some more. That's an old story. We'll say that for some other time. But yeah, we got a good show for you lined up here. We got another 58 minutes here to go on the program. We're going to be talking to Leaping Lanny Poffo, the poet laureate of the World Wrestling
And which
Federation.
we've had Lanny on before.
We've had Lanny on a couple of times. Yeah, he's a good guy. He's fun. He is, of course, the brother of the late Macho Man Randy Savage. And obviously, he is a great poet. He can just spout stuff off left and right. He's a brilliant mind, also known as the Genius after a while in WWF. And we're going to talk to another great friend of ours, Mr. Tito Santana, who's in the bottom right corner over there, Joe, giving us the fist like that. He's going to talk to us again today. We're going to chat with him a little bit about his career and what he's doing now. And I'm going to pick his brain a little bit and see what he can do. So we'll get Lanny on in a few minutes. But how's your week been going? Pretty good, all right?
Doing all right.
Yeah, Poffo, Poffo, that's correct. Yeah, I guess this cold weather.
The week's flying, dude.
It is flying. I can't believe it's January 16th already. Here we're live, 2013.
It's good to be live.
It is good to be live and alive.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Here I'm still alive. That's Eddie Vedder. Well, my imitation of Eddie Vedder.
I thought it was really him. I was like, whoa, where is he at?
Now, listen, I want to make sure everybody knows. If you guys are going to call in today with your comments and your questions, first of all, thank you. I welcome that, and I anticipate it, and I want you to do that. However, do me a favor. Now, if you are going to call, please let Joe, and maybe even Joe can remind you, if you want to be involved in the giveaway.
Yes.
Yeah, because every week we're going to give something away.
Did you send that one out from last week?
Already took care of that.
Nice.
But what I need you to do is that if you call in today, at the end of the conversation or in the beginning, whatever, if you do want to be part of the giveaway, what I need you to do is say, yes, I do want to. Tell Joe. We'll go ahead and put you in. If you say, no, I don't want to, whatever, but
why would somebody say that?
Yeah, I know, but you never know. People are kind of strange. People are strange.
I don't want anything for free.
Right. I don't want a picture of a wrestler that's signed by you. But no, just to make sure, because if I go ahead and say, so-and-so from so-and-so wins, email me. I want to make sure that you want to be contacted.
Absolutely.
And be part of it. Because if you just do it,
we could be considered spammers.
Yeah, I don't want to be a spammer.
We won't be.
I like spam.
We won't be spammers.
I like spam, but I don't
only
want to be
roasted
a
on the grill though.
Do you like spam?
I don't like spam.
I don't like spam either. I don't like spam. That's an old Monty Python.
I was told you like to roll around in spam and
I've been known
different things.
I've been known to roll around in a few things. Dairy products as well, but
you ever coat your waterbed mattress with just spam grease and then?
Dude, that'd be fun, wouldn't it?
No,
you get like a slip and slide.
It would stink, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but you can bring some eggs with you and just have breakfast at the same time.
Spam smells a lot like cat food.
Spam is pretty bad. I had it one time because my mother-in-law loves it. They like cutting it up and frying it in the pan and stuff like that.
Right.
I see. You know what? For a couple bucks more, you can go buy a pound of real ham.
Cat food.
Well, cat food is even cheaper than spam, but you can go buy real ham for not that much more.
Imagine that. Or even fake ham. It looks like it.
That is fake ham. Spam is disgusting.
Spam is rough.
Anyway, let's go talk about spam. Jesus.
How'd you get on that?
Well, you said you don't want us to be spammers. And the whole Monty Python King came around. So, But listen, our phone number, if you want to call in just a little bit, is 480-745-1033. So when we get Lanny on the phone, he'll be our first guest. And then after that, we're going to have Tito Santana. Arriba! That's right. Tito Santana.
I hope they'll sing Black Magic Woman for us.
I would love to have that. You know what we got to do? We got to have something by Santana
Oh, yeah.
To start out his
Absolutely.
interview. Please.
I think Black Magic Woman.
Got a black magic marker.
Woman.
No, I always say black magic marker.
Tito Santana's coming on now.
And he used to wrestle in the WWF.
It was the 80s, but it's okay.
He was a former Intercontinental champion and a tag team champion with bling, 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 Rick Martel. Oyo, como va? We're gonna talk to Tito Santana.
Excellent job there,
I love that. That's off the top of my head, too. Off the top rope, off the top of your head. Anyway, so, yeah, we're going to do that. If you want to give us a buzz here after we get Leaping Lanny Poffo, the genius, on the phone. You got any questions or comments?
Is he really a genius?
Absolutely. He is the genius full of glory and renown. He'll tell you that, too.
I believe him.
And he's a great poet, of course. He's done some awesome poetry in his day.
I hope we can get him to do something.
We will. We'll get. Trust me, he's got poets up the yin yang, poems up the yin yang. Well, I don't know if literally if he's got but anyway, you know what I'm saying. He's very talented. And then if you want to call, like we said, we have those guys on the phone. Joe will take your questions, your comments. Let us know where you're at, and please let us know if you want to be involved in the email drawing, the big contest that we give away. We're going to be doing that every week right here on Off the Top Rope Radio. So, do we have Lanny on the phone? Is he there? Oh, it's
Let's catch him live.
Okay, I want to make let's just do it really because you know it's hello, watch, hello, watch. Leaping Lanny Poffo, Brian Shank, and Joe C. here with you on Off the Top Rope Radio from Arizona. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Are we on the air?
We are on the air, live, in color, in person, you and me and Joe, and it's great to have you back on the program. How have things been going for you?
Well, it's been a fantastic couple of years here. You know, I'm really excited about what's going on. I just turned 58.
Yes.
And I'm doing well.
Mobile.
Hey, Lanny, you're breaking up just a little bit. Are you on a mobile phone by chance?
No, how's this?
That's better. Yeah, you broke up after you said 58 years old.
I'm 58 years old, and I've lost about 60 pounds, and I don't jiggle as much.
Wait a minute. 60 pounds.
Are you doing the YRG, the Diamond Dallas thing?
I have a lot of respect for Diamond Dallas Page, but what I'm doing is Dr. Joel Furman, Eat to Live.
Nice.
Greens, onions, mushrooms, beans, berries, and seeds. So I'm a vegan, and it has nothing to do with my animal. I'm just trying to keep breathing in and out of here.
Hey, Lanny, you're breaking up just a little bit again, buddy. I think it's that cell phone there. I don't. Do you have another number we can call you on, like your home number or something like that, or?
But we don't want to say it right now.
Okay, can we tell you off the air?
Yeah, I'll jump off real quick, and I'll get you right back on hold.
Joel will jump off the air with you, and then he'll get it from you. It won't be on the air. It'll be private, and then we can call you back on that number there. He's going to write it down. So sometimes cell phones, they break up and stuff like that, so we're going to get his – I think I probably have it. I just want to make sure that I don't dial the wrong one and everything. So we'll call him back, and we'll get him on the home phone, because sometimes that happens. So anyway, we'll be talking to Leaping Lanny Poffo in a few moments here. But while we're doing that, I want to ask anybody out there, and when you call in, too, with any questions or comments like you usually do, let us know what you thought about the 20th anniversary of Raw this past Monday, if you did, in fact, happen to watch it. I watched it, and I was very much unimpressed. I thought they'd have something in, maybe Undertaker back or Shawn Michaels or whatever else, but very lackluster program. So if you can, when you call in, just throw a little word in there what you thought about it. So, and that number, again, we'll be talking in just a moment here, 480-745-1033. That's the number you can call in to talk with us. And we're getting Lanny Poffo back on the phone now. I'm pretty sure I got that phone number there, the one for his thing.
Hello?
Leaping Lanny Poffo, we're back on the air live. How you doing, buddy?
Well, I'm doing fantastic, and sorry about my inferior equipment here.
That's okay.
But,
tell us a little bit about that diet again you were talking about, because that sounds really interesting. What's the name of the diet, and what are you eating?
It's Dr. Joel Furman. I was watching public broadcasting, and he'd made a speech, and I thought, wow, that sounds pretty good. So I became a mark for Joel Furman. I bought his books, and it was greens, onions, mushrooms, beans, berries, and seeds. We're concentrating on micronutrients instead of macronutrients. And the weight is just flew off, and I can see my feet for the first time in years.
Wow, that's amazing. Was there a reason why that you decided to do it? Were you unhappy with the way you were looking lately or feeling, or what was the?
Well, I actually, after my brother died, I wanted to go to the doctor to get myself checked, and I passed every test except I hadn't been on the scale in a long time. You know, living in a fool's paradise.
Yeah.
Like if you don't get on the scale, you won't know, so it won't be there. You know, and when I saw 272, I freaked out.
Wow.
So then I lost the first 10 pounds on sheer panic. And then I was lucky enough to see the speech by Joe Furman, and then I got right on the ball. And now I feel like I've overcome my addiction to food. And of course, it didn't do a lot for my social life because I started saying no to the parties I was invited to, because these parties are just an excuse to overeat.
Sure they are. Huh. Wow. That's incredible because, you know, I mean, I think so many people nowadays, they may look in the mirror and say, well, you know, I feel like I'm okay and whatever else, but I bet you a lot of people just don't jump on that scale very often like you did. And if, you know, you said 272? I think that's what you said there. That's pretty.
272. That's pretty.
Yeah, that's a big guy there, man. So you lost 60 pounds. How much do you want to get down to? What do you want to be at?
I'm already there.
Yeah.
But see, what motivated me was, you know, all my life I wanted to be like my brother, and now I don't.
Oh.
You know,
okay.
So I got myself checked and everything, and like I said, but there's no guarantee that I'm going to live another minute. You know.
Sure.
But still, I'm going to try to, you know, I love life, I want to live, and I want to do whatever it takes to put the odds in my favor. So I'm very, very motivated, and I'm very happy about what Diamond Dallas Page is doing for Jake the Snake Roberts. You know, I sure hope that he makes a comeback.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I mean, especially because with him being in the situation he's in. I mean, obviously he's done so much over the years, and he's admitted to it, with substances and drinking and everything else and bad decisions. And I saw what he's done here with DDP, and boy, he's really looking pretty good. I was really impressed with that. That's a hell of a program. We had DDP on, a year and a half or 2 years ago, and we were talking a little bit about the yoga thing. And do you do any yoga yourself? I mean, are you into that? Because I know you've always been pretty flexible with your wrestling career and your training.
Well, what I do is I just do basic stretches. I actually studied hatha yoga. I do pranayamas and things like that. Mm-hmm. But what I do is I get up every morning, and I'm retired now.
Sure.
I get up every morning, and I walk to the gym, which is 1.4 miles.
Cool.
And then I work out, and then I walk home. So that takes care of my cardio. And then I get back home, and I go to the blender, and I put distilled water in half the blender. Then I shove kale and whatever else, cranberries or carrots, and I blend it up. And I can't say it's going to put Dairy Queen out of business, but what do you want, good or good for you?
Sure. You can't have both sometimes. When you're walking to the gym like that every time and walking back, do you get anybody that ever pulls over and says, "Hey, are you Lanny Poffo?" Do you get...
Well, actually, I am. They don't know who I am.
Yeah.
Because I've lost my porn star mustache and my permed hair.
Oh no.
And I've lost a lot of hair, but in my case, it was on purpose.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got you. Well, it's kind of funny because you talked about all that. That's good for you, though. I'm glad that you're doing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's, and I'll tell you what, I'm much happier this way, and but I know everybody on the route. Everybody knows me, and I'm friends with everybody's dogs. I only stop to pet dogs, and they're not wrestling fans or anything, but that's good. That means there aren't going to be any drive-by shootings.
That's awesome. Well, that's good to hear. We're talking, of course, to Leaping Lanny Poffo, the genius, full of glory and renown, the poet laureate of the World Wrestling Federation, good friend of ours here on Off the Top Rope Radio. Brian Shank and Joe C. hanging with you here. It's 2:46 here in the Mountain Time Zone, and we are going to be spending a few more minutes with Lanny. And, of course, this is a wrestling program. We want to open up the phone lines. And what we're going to do is we're going to open up the lines, and what we do is we have callers that call in religiously each and every week, and they'll ask questions to Joe, and Joe will pass them on to us here on the paper and stuff. These are all legit, real people.
And I'm flipping the lines on right now.
All right, lines are going on, and if you want to call and get a question or a comment in for Mr. Leaping Lanny Poffo, our good friend, the phone number to call is easy. It's 480-745-1033. That's 480-745-1033. Phones are now open, so give them a call, and we'll talk. And Lenny, let's go back a little bit. I know we had you on so many times, and we've just kind of scattered ourselves. I never have to worry about taking notes or going in any particular schedule with you, but let's talk a little bit about professional wrestling. And there was one question that was brought up to me on Facebook the other day that they wanted me to ask you, and I can't remember the gentleman's name, but that's kind of not really important. But he wanted me to ask you, and he said, please be honest about this, because he said you've always spoken the truth. But he said, please tell us about the contract you had with WCW when you never even wrestled a single match for them. Can you kind of elaborate on that and tell us your thoughts and whatever?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
It was all true. And it was even in Chris Jericho's book. I didn't read his book, but somebody told me about it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I were him, I'd be very upset. As a matter of fact, if I were anybody but me, I'd be upset about it.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was Randy got himself a very lucrative contract with WCW,
mm-hmm.
and then he also managed to procure Vince the Slim Jim account from Conagra Foods, and to uninvest with Vince McMahon and invested Ted Turner.
Okay.
And then Randy got an idea that I would be Gorgeous George, and he got me videos of Gorgeous George, and told me to watch his tapes. In the meantime, I bleached my hair blonde on his behest. Mm-hmm. And got hair extensions even. Wow. You know what those are?
Oh, sure, of course, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I'll tell you what, it's no picnic to be in the beauty parlor that long. But so anyway, so I got all this blonde hair and a hair weave, and then watching Gorgeous George, and I'm working out really hard. And I'm tanning myself every day. Mm-hmm. And I take pictures, and he sends them to the powers that be of the WCW, and they sign me to a contract. And then the next thing you know, I'm still working out, still waiting by the phone. The phone never rings. And I had no intention of stealing the money. Mm-hmm. I wanted to earn it.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they had a lot of problems in the WCW. In other words, they had too many chiefs and not enough Indians. They had a multitude of bookers. Mm-hmm. And, everybody's pushing their own clique. And the trouble is they're thinking with OPM, other people's money. Mm-hmm. And I was not the only leak in the bucket. A lot of leaks in the bucket. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make it right. But I'll tell you what happened. I honestly would not have gotten over as Gorgeous George, because with the bleaching of my hair, and you know my hair is dark brown with wisps of silver, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, I put so much bleach on my hair that it started getting brittle and breaking.
Eesh.
So, so calling myself Gorgeous George, the truth is, I look more like the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz.
Wow. I can see that. I can see that. So is that kind of where it just dissolved right there, and then that was pretty much the end of it?
Yeah, I'd like to deny it, but it was all true.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad you answered that because that was something he wanted me to answer. So there you go, my friend. We got the answer to that. And just in case you're tuning in just now, we are speaking to Leaping Lanny Poffo, the genius of the World Wrestling Federation. He is a good friend of ours here. And I want to go to some of the calls that we're getting while we're talking here. Joe C. across the board's really going crazy here with his shorthand. Jim from Manitoba, Canada is calling us in here, Lanny. He says, when you were doing the Hannibal... Does that say Hannibal promos? Is that right?
Yeah.
Hannibal promos? Was this supposed to be in the Hannibal movie? What does that say here, Joe? I'm sorry, I can't.
He was saying, does this have something to do with the movie Hannibal, why you came up with the name? I don't know if he was out there lingering on from our medical marijuana show or what, but that's what he had to say.
Hannibal is Devin Nicholson. And right now he's going through, he's got trouble like hepatitis C, and he's taking experimental medicines trying to get himself healthy. Okay. But he was the promoter. He's from Ottawa, Ontario. And a shoot interview is coming out, plus a documentary. So I suggest you all go on to his website.
Where did you hear about
I don't know. I cannot give you call letters, but I'm sure you can find it.
Okay.
Nicholson, Hannibal, Great Northern, or something like that. Anyway, where there's a shoot interview. I also did another shoot interview, Kayfabe Commentaries with Sean Oliver.
Yes, I saw a piece of that on YouTube, and boy, I'll tell you what, Lanny, those are some interesting questions on that trailer that he asked, and I don't know if you want to even answer some of those here for the people who didn't get to see the interview or not or whatever, or even touch base on anything, but what were your thoughts on that one?
Well, see, I have a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for, my father taught me that if I was going to wrestle or do an interview or even this here, to do my very, very best. Otherwise, it's like you're shortchanging the public. Maybe people aren't paying money to listen to me now, but they are also paying. Time is money, isn't it?
Sure.
And I don't want a fan to waste his time listening to me, so I'm doing my best for you. I also did my best for Devin Nicholson on that shoot interview, and I did my best for Sean Oliver. He said, "Is there anything you don't want me to ask you?" And I said, "It's a shoot interview. Just shoot with me,
Sure.
and I'll shoot back." So I recommend that you get both interviews with Devin Nicholson and Sean Oliver's Kayfabe Commentary, and it's an hour and a half. But I'm getting some tremendous feedback from the fans on how much they enjoyed it.
Nice. That's great. Well, that I think that, you know, the money obviously wasn't that big of a deal for you in terms of what they paid you, but I mean the feedback obviously from the fans, because I know you love your fans and you care about them, and I always see you always taking the time out to sign autographs. I know you say you only stop to pet the dogs and stuff, but I know at wrestling conventions and shows that you're more than happy to talk to the fans and really enjoy their company. I know you've said that to me before. So.
Right, and I'll admit that there's a four-letter word about money, and that's M-O-R-E. No matter how much you got, you always want to, you know, that's get more.
Can we ask? Can we ask you?
Naturally, I didn't.
Go ahead. I'm just gonna say. Can we ask you? And if you just want to say it's none of your business, Brian, or whatever, I don't want to talk about it. But can we ask you how much something like that you would get paid for to do like a kayfabe commentaries? I mean, do you care about discussing how much you got paid to do something like that?
Yeah, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why it's none of your business, Shingster.
Sure.
Because it's a deal between, I believe, between the person that paid you and the person that accepts the pay. That's a sacrament.
Sure.
Okay. And it was an undisclosed figure, and I think he was happy with my performance, and I know that I was happy with the money.
Okay.
So That's all I can tell you, that we're not going to be in people's court over it.
There you go. Or Judge Judy, for that matter. We are speaking to Leaping Lanny Poffo, the poet laureate, the genius, if you will, of the World Wrestling Federation. We're spending about another 10 minutes here with him, and always a great time having you on here. I want to go back to these phone calls here, Lanny, because we have them pouring in here. The next call we had was someone from the North Lake, Kansas. The good old heartland there. Jill Hamlin. Jill says, I still feel the loss of Macho Man. We enjoyed you and your brother. We love you. So that's just a nice comment by Jill. And then we also had Brandon calling in from Wayburg, Nebraska. So I guess Nebraska's quite busy with the wrestling shows today. He says, we love you, the high-flying genius. He also says, can I still get an autograph anywhere where you're going to be? Now, I'm pretty sure that if you want to get an autograph by Lanny, you can go ahead and promote your site, LannyPoffo.com, and I'm probably going to guess 99% sure that there is autograph opportunities for them there. So that's Brandon and Jill there. Lanny, you want to comment on those?
It's actually GeniusLannyPoffo.com.
Okay, very good.
GeniusLannyPoffo. One time, I was on the Jonathan Ross show in England, and he called me Lenny, and I said, no, it's Lanny, like Fanny. And he says, oh, you can't say that from the telly? Because Fanny, do you know why? Do you know why that's funny?
No, I don't. I have no clue.
Okay, Fanny in America means your butt.
Sure.
But Fanny in England is the C word, and it is very wrong to say on TV, and I did not know that, but I said it, and it was live, and that's not the attention I wanted to get, but because I was a Yankee, they accepted my apology.
Wow. I had no clue. Well, I work with an English guy at work every day, and his name is Ian. So I'm going to go talk to Ian tomorrow. I'm going to call him that and see if he reacts. I got to know that. But these two gentlemen, these two people here, Jill and Brandon, they both brought up the Macho Man and how much they enjoyed your time with that. And I know you enjoy talking about your brother, and it's always still hard to look at a videotape or to look at something on the internet and see Randy Savage and know he's not with us anymore. And I know it was very hard for you, and still to this day, I'm sure you have your struggles and everything with your mother as well. First of all, I wanted to ask, how is his widow doing? Is she is she doing well? Is she still contacted with you and your family on that side? We just kind of want to know how she's doing overall.
Okay, she's doing much better, but she suffered a terrible loss, as did my mother. But my mother made a comeback after 3 months, and she made a comeback about 3 months ago.
Wow.
She was in severe depression, and I'm just trying to be strong for the family, but who's going to be strong for me?
Sure. No, I hear you there. I mean, that's kind of a thing you got to step up to and stuff like that. Do you have a favorite match of Randy's that you can just off the top of your head just say, that was my brother at his finest? Do you have one you can just spout off the top of your head?
Well, I hate to give you the cliche answer, but of course, it was the Pontiac Silverdome WrestleMania 3, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Macho Man Randy Savage.
Right.
Any other answer would be ridiculous.
Yeah. We had Ricky Steamboat on the air about a month ago, and we talked about that match pretty much in depth and how fantastic it was. And, it stole the show, literally, in my opinion, stole the show. I mean, here it was supposed to be about Hulk and Andre, and here two guys who were in their prime of their careers, in my opinion, 87, Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat. I totally agree with you. Fantastic wrestling match. And did Randy always talk fondly of that match as well, even after the years went by?
Well, actually, it was bittersweet for him because he always wanted to eclipse that. He set the bar pretty high, and he was never able to top the match or even equal it. Mm-hmm. And when they made him an announcer for the WWE, you remember on Raw 20 years ago?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Randy was the announcer, and he started, getting bored with just announcing, even though he did an excellent job. Mm-hmm. And he started appreciating the talent of Shawn Michaels. And he decided that he could do a 2-year program, Macho Man against Shawn Michaels, and he had a chance to tie or beat the match he had with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. So he came up with an elaborate 2-year storyline involving champagne and 2 flutes or glasses or whatever they call it for champagne. And he poured the glass drinking to the success of Shawn Michaels, and then taking the champagne bottle and breaking it over his head and starting a 2-year feud, like the Hatfields and the McCoys, ending in one of the WrestleManias where Randy loses to Shawn Michaels.
Wow.
You know, total unselfishness. And so he took it to the powers that be, and they said, well, that's really great, but we're having a youth movement, and the best thing he could do is step back and grab the microphone, enjoy the show. And Randy said, oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was elderly, but I think I'll get a second opinion on that. And he called up the WCW.
Ooh.
And then he asked if the offer was still on the table. He'd already turned down 2 offers previously, but he decided to get a second opinion on whether he was too old.
Wow, that's a hell of a story. I never knew anything about that, man. That's great to hear that one. That would have been a heck of a program. I would love to see those two go at it. You know, Lanny, we are.
I answered the.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, I said go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
Well, I answered the question. I talked about that in depth in the K-Pay commentaries with Sean Oliver. But you see, the thing is, Randy wanted to beat the Ricky Steamboat match. He wanted to, but he had set the bar too high, and he could never come close to it. But he might have. Let me ask you a question. Wouldn't you like to have seen him try to take Shawn Michaels and try to beat that match?
Absolutely. That would have been one of the greatest feuds I think I would have ever seen.
So then, who's lost is it? I mean, of course, it's a bad win that doesn't blow somebody some good. So I'm really happy that Jerry Lawler got a chance to show what he could do on the microphone, because he did a fantastic job for many years, and it ain't easy.
No, I tell you, you're right about that. Lanny, we got to get moving here. Unfortunately, we're getting past the top of the hour, but I want to read one more little quick comment for you, and then we'll have to probably move on here. But Heidi from Chula Vista, California, the San Diego area, she said that you are the only wrestler to me. She said, thank you. She said she's recording this program, and she would please, or she says, could you please have Lanny mention me by my name? So that's Heidi from Chula Vista, California. She said she's a regular listener. She said thank you, and she would love it if you could just say to her personally, Heidi from Chula Vista.
Hello, Heidi from Chula Vista.
There you go. Hey, that's what she wanted, right? That's what you got. So, Lanny, listen, we'll talk.
Straight to order, huh?
That's right, man. Straight to order. Listen, Lanny, we'll get back in touch here in a couple months.
I love your.
Go ahead.
I just want to say one thing to Heidi. I loved your movie with Shirley Temple.
That wasn't the one that cut in the middle of the Jets playoff game back in the 60s, was it? I don't remember, but I know there was a problem like that.
You remember that? You see, a man like you, that was one of the greatest comebacks that the world never saw.
I know. I was only a very young person, but I remember it happening as the years went by, because I watch a lot of TV and do a lot of sports stuff. But you know what, Lane? Let's have you back on again here very soon, because we'd love to have you back on like we always do. You're a great interview, a great guy, and listen, we wish you the best.
Well, when they played that Heidi thing against the football, I was already old and decrepit.
I don't believe that.
Do me a favor. Tito Santana's coming on, right?
Yes, he is.
Tell him I said hello, and that tell him that I have such respect for him, because he's one of the few wrestlers that was married once and still loves his wife and has 3 fantastic sons, and none of them are ever going to be in trouble. They're all going to be successful, just like Tito.
All right. I'm going to do that. I'll make sure I say that like in the first couple of minutes there. And if you get a chance there at your computer, tune us in. You can listen to it live on kqcklive.com, kqcklive.com. We'd love to have you hear it live if you could. And, I'll definitely pass that on. So fire up that computer. And
excellent. Thank you, Shakespeare.
Okay, you're welcome, my friend. Take good care of yourself. Take care of your mom, and we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Thank you, Lanny.
Bye-bye.
All right, there you go. Leap and Lanny Poffo, the genius. Great to have him on board. And let's go ahead and get Tito right away on the phone right away, Joe, because I told him we'd call him at 5.
Yeah.
5 his time, that is. So, yeah, that's great. You know, Lanny's been through a lot of things here in the last couple of months, and to hear him, you know, talk fondly of his brother and to just be part of a wonderful wrestling family. His father, Angelo Poffo, one part of the Devil's Duo back in the day. And, you know, there's so many things we could talk to Lanny about and everything, and I just I want to commend him for that and being such a good guy. You know what? That's awesome that he's losing all that weight like that with eating twigs and berries and insects and
I wonder if he's wearing a leaf.
shoe leather. I don't want to know.
Yeah, true.
It'd have to be a big
I
leaf.
guess I don't wonder very often
It'd have
about
to be a
that.
big leaf from what I've been told, but we'll leave it at that. So that's funny stuff. So, hello?
Hello.
Hello, Tito Santana, Brian Shank, and Joe C. here with you on Off the Top Rope Radio from good old Arizona. You're live on the air with us. How you doing, my friend?
Good, Brian. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. Say hi to Joe C. over here. He's pushing all the buttons and making things happen.
Hey, Tito, how you doing? Just looking at you up on the wall here in the studio.
Yeah, we got your picture at the bottom there on the far right. It says, to my friends at KQCK Radio, Tito Santana, Hall of Fame, arriba. You got the Strike Force tights on there. The hair's looking awesome in that great 89 mullet that we both had back in the day. And you got the hand sticking up, and I can picture just, you know, saying arriba. So it's good to talk to you, buddy. How you been? Everything going good okay for you so far in 2013?
Everything is going pretty good, except we got a little snow last night.
Yeah, well, we had some snow. Well,
It
actually,
has been cold.
We had enough temperatures here in 5 days to have snowstorms ourselves. It's been the coldest 5 days on record in Arizona since 1978. So I know what you're talking about. I don't care for the snow and the cold. Do you, Tito?
No, I hate it.
Yeah, I know, man. Especially now that you're about 44 years old, it gets a little bit tougher on your joints and everything like that. So
I thought it was
Oh, yeah.
41.
41? Is it 41?
That's what I thought.
Joe corrected me and said it's 41.
I wish.
Yeah, no, it's all good. You know what? We're talking to Tito Santana right here on Off the Top Rope Radio. Brian Shank here with you with Joe C. in the great old East Valley here in Arizona. And what we're going to do is we're going to open up the phone lines. What we do here, Tito, is Joe's going to go ahead and take phone calls off the air. He gives them to me on pieces of paper here. And then what we do is we read the comments and the questions, where the fans are from and everything. And, we get them interactive with the show. And it always turns out to be a lot of fun. And sometimes these fans, man, they know more than probably yourself with some of the questions. So let's go ahead and have Joe do that. He's writing right now as we talk. And let's first of all talk a little bit. I want to make 2 shout-outs for you, Tito. First of all, we just had Lanny Poffo on the phone before you, Leaping Lanny. He said to make sure that I tell you this, and this is what he said at the end of the interview. He says, please tell Tito Santana that he respects him very much. He said that you are one of the few men in this wrestling business who's been married to the same woman for so many years, has 3 sons who are all successful and will never be bad or in the news because of the great father that you are. And he says he looks up to you and respects you and loves you. So now that's from Leaping Lanny Poffo's words, his mouth himself, not even 3 minutes ago. So I want to make sure I pass that on to you.
Yeah, he's always said that to me, and I've always, we've been good friends, and everybody likes, something good said about them. Everybody appreciates. What's the word that when somebody says something nice about you?
The compliments, I guess, right?
Everybody likes compliments. Yeah.
Well, you're an easy guy to compliment because, I agree with that as well. I mean, first of all, every time that we call you, you're either at the hair salon or you're working or you're at home or whatever else. And, we always appreciate you taking the time to come on the radio show because you're an excellent guest and we love interviewing you and talking about your career because you've had one hell of a wrestling career. And some of the matches that have, gone by in days with the Strike Force or, back with even yourself and Pedro Morales and just wonderful matches. And you always had a great, no nonsense, no frills type of wrestling gimmick. You went out there, you wrestled hard. You made us believe what was going on inside the ring was good, and that's a lot of things I don't think that many people nowadays can claim. And so I want to echo Lanny's words as well, and just say thank you for everything you've done, and we appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's move on because another buddy of yours, who's also a good friend of mine, Mr. Brian Blair, B. Brian Blair, formerly of the Killer Bees and from Florida Wrestling. Brian and I became very good friends here over the last couple of years. He sent me an email today and he says, Brian, I see you got Tito on the phone. Tell him I love him. And he also said to make sure I ask you about the Anteater. So I have no idea what he's talking about. I hope it's something you can talk about if you would. So please, if you could, tell us about the anteater.
No, you really can't talk about the anteater.
Oh, okay. I'm glad it made you laugh, though. Okay. Is it? Well, I'll tell you what. Someday when I give you a call, maybe you can tell me about it. I'll talk to Brian probably tomorrow anyway, and I'm sure he'll fill me in. But it's something obviously we can't bring up, right?
Yeah, Brian's a good guy.
Yeah. What?
I think I'm going to be seeing him pretty soon in Atlantic City.
Really cool. Part of a wrestling event or something, or
yeah. Somebody's running Legends, and they're going to have me and him and Bruno and a couple other guys, in Atlantic City. I believe it's going to be March 2nd, if I'm not mistaken, or March 3rd, or the following week. And I just take one day at a time.
Sure, why you might as well, right? I mean, you've done so much in this world, and you're still teaching right now. And how far of a distance is that for you to go on March 2nd to where this is going to be? It's got to be kind of close. You're out there on the east side, on the East Coast.
Yeah, Atlantic City is 130 miles.
Oh, perfect. Excellent. Now, we talked about Brian Blair, and like I say, he's a good guy, and he's a good friend of mine. Do you have a funny rib or a funny story or a moment that you can talk about on the air that you remember, or something funny that happened inside the ring or on the road or anything like that you can bring up and talk about?
No, we just had so many fun times on the road. I mean, because we pretty much started about the same time, and Brian's best friend was Mr. Wonderful, and Mr. Wonderful turned out to be my best friend, and
nice.
We both keep in touch with Mr. Wonderful, and we both aware of the cancer that he went through, and
yes.
Luckily I think he's beaten it. He went through some hard times about a year and a half ago. We've remained friends. Brian doesn't go on the road that much. He had just a little bitty run in New York, so he was a much better wrestler than the opportunity that he got. So he didn't get the exposure. So he doesn't. He's not on the circuit doing shows as much. So I don't run into him as much as I do Mr. Wonderful. But Mr. Brian was a great guy. I mean, he is a great guy, and I think I ran into him about 6-8 months ago. And it's always nice to hang out, and talk about the good old times, and we always laugh. And I mean, we had some great times on the roads.
Talk about the anteater thing, and I'm sure get a few laughs.
The anteater and some of the experiences that he had.
That's awesome.
He was a booker. I think it was it Louisiana where he was a booker? No. God.
Well, Florida. He was very big in Florida. I know he was Florida Championship Wrestling back in the day.
Yeah, and with the girl, what's the girl's name? Oklahoma. There was a girl that I think he was married to her for a little while.
You talking about Mike McGurk?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike McGurk was also a ring announcer for the WWF back in the day. Yep.
Yeah, and he booked for her father. I think, if I'm not mistaken, because I never worked in that territory. Her father was blind, I think, and Brian helped him out, and he booked the territory. And from what I understand, they were doing pretty good.
That's cool.
So he's got a great mind for the business.
Oh, without a doubt. I see him every year at the Cauliflower Alley Club in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we get together, gamble a little bit, have a few beers, and talk, and it's a lot of fun, Brian. Brian knows just about everybody, man. I mean, he was sitting there chumming up with Stone Cold Steve Austin when he was there, and all these great people and everything. I mean, he definitely gets around, so I echo your statements on that. We're talking to Tito Santana right here on Off the Top Rope Radio on KQCKLive.com. And, Tito, I want to go to some of these notes here that Joe's given me from all the great callers that are calling in. Let me read some of these here. Sissy from Dubuque, North Carolina. D-E-B-U-K. I guess that's Dubuque, I'm guessing, North Carolina. So Sissy says, it's great to say hi to the greatest Intercontinental Champion, Tito Santana, that has ever been. He says, if I could, I would go back in time to see your matches, and I would never miss a show. Thank you. So she's a first-time listener, and she said thank you. So that's from Sissy in Dubuque, North Carolina.
I think it was Dubuque.
Oh, Dubuque? Okay.
Close enough. Dubuque.
Yeah, whatever. I thought it was Dubuque, but I thought I was just reading it the way you wrote it, so Dubuque. Let me go on here a little bit more here. Nicholas Bennett, Phoenix, right here in Arizona. He says, can you tell us when you completed the diving clothesline, we created the diving clothesline. I don't know if maybe...
So, you know what? I should probably take some writing classes. I'm sorry, Brian.
That's okay. But I think maybe he might be talking about the flying forearm, I'm guessing. But I'm going to read this again here. Can you tell us when you created the diving clothesline? I love that move. I would love to learn it. I tried it once, and I broke my collarbone. Wow.
Nice.
That's really what he said?
Yeah.
Okay, let's first of all...
Do you think I would know about that?
I know. But Tito, tell me what he's talking about here with the diving clothesline, because is he talking about the flying forearm, or is he talking about something else?
Yeah, no, he's talking about the flying forearm, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I first started, I teamed up with Ivan Putski, and Ivan Putski had the Polish hammer, where he'd wait for the guys and just give them the big double hammer on the chest.
Yeah.
And so I took to the air, and I started doing the flying clothesline. And then I can't even tell you when I started doing the flying forearm. But that's where it came from, because I was able to travel in the air pretty good with my flying forearm. I just made a little bit of an adjustment, and I felt very comfortable with it, and the wrestlers in the dressing room liked it, and I changed it as my finisher.
Yeah. Well, that was, and I think that was a pretty original finisher, too. You didn't see, I don't think anybody that I can remember doing, there was one person I remember seeing, and they call it the Flying Burrito. I think it was Manny Fernandez over in Jim Crockett Promotions, NWA. I think he did a version of that, and they call it the Flying Burrito. Let me ask you another question, too, because I want to go on to the other call here, too, and I know, Joe, you're still taking calls as well. But I got to ask you, and I probably know the answer to this, but the whole time that, like, Jesse Ventura used to call you Chico Santana, and, make fun of your family and make fun of your heritage and stuff like that, did you know that they were going to be saying all this stuff on TV before you watched the program? Did they ever come to you and say, hey, we're going to say this about this and about, the Mexican heritage and about your name? And did they ever discuss that with you before they did it? Or if they didn't, were you ever upset about it? I mean, was it all just, part of the work and everything? Someone asked me that one time, and I didn't know the answer, so.
No, because, back then, when we did interviews, the wrestlers who were on top, like Bobby Heenan and Jesse the Body Ventura, that started in Minnesota. We were together in the AWA with Vern Gagne in Minnesota, and those guys were over so big that the more they put you down, the more it got you over.
Sure.
So that was just part of the business, and I'd never realized. It took me a while to realize how much that was getting over. When I first started traveling to different arenas, the fans would holler, "Hey, Chico!" And at first it would upset me, and then I realized, oh, it's because of what Jesse is saying. Because I never really watched our wrestling shows.
Okay.
So I really couldn't tell, what he was saying, and because I wasn't a fan. I've never been a fan. I still don't watch wrestling.
Yeah.
So I realized that it was because of the shows that what Jesse would say about me.
Yeah, and it was good stuff, too. I mean, I remember it always got a great reaction if Bobby Heenan were saying, or Jesse. Those were two of the best. And, he used to always, say that Coco Beware. He used to call him buckwheat and everything like that. And I remember one time, I think, I remember one of the promos for WrestleMania 3 when you teamed up with the Bulldogs against the Hart Foundation and Danny Davis. And I remember Jim Neidhart... Jim Neidhart was never known for his interviews, but I remember the one time where he goes, I know you had a problem with us, British Bulldogs, but what's with you bringing in the Burrito brother, Tito Santana? And I just remember, for 26 years now, I remember that interview because it made me laugh just, uncontrollably when he said that, because it was just like, it was probably something he didn't even rehearse or, meant to say, but he probably just stuff at the top of his head, and it was just so funny, you know. Great stuff, you know. And wrestling's not the way it used to be. That's for darn sure. I want to go to the next comment here. Trudy and Bill from Saskatoon says they visited New England's Hall of Fame, and they got a picture by your picture, and
no, that was Saskatoon. By the way.
Okay, she says.
Where is that? Is that British Columbia?
I don't know. You know where Saskatoon
I'm
is,
not
Tito?
sure where that is.
I think, isn't Saskatoon over there by Saskatchewan, maybe?
Oh, that might be.
Maybe.
That could be very wrong. Well, they're saying that they visited New England's Hall of Fame, and they got a pic.
They got a picture by your picture and your name.
Oh, I see.
And their, let me see.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So they were there and they visited.
Right, they went and got a picture by their favorite guy.
Cool. So you're in the New England Wrestling Hall of Fame, Tito. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, there you go. You're
and they're first-time listeners, and they got it off a Facebook news feed.
I like it. I like it a lot. I love all these first-time listeners, and what better
lot today.
What better to have than Tito Santana on the phone with us here too, talking about wrestling.
It's very appreciative, to know that there's fans all over the country that it makes my career worthwhile. We sacrificed a lot being on the road, for a bunch of days in a row and being away from our family, and you never realized how many people you touch. And now that I still do independent shows, and usually the fans come out and they know more about me than I do, and they start talking about, and we start reminiscing, and they remind me of things that happened in my life,
Yeah.
It really makes it all worthwhile.
That's awesome. That's great. And I know that you've had so many matches. Do you know the number of matches that you've wrestled in your life? Because J.J. Dillon told me the other day he's wrestled, I think he said, over 8,000 matches. Do you know the number or close to the number you've wrestled?
No, I have no idea.
No clue? Okay. I was kind of curious about that.
Want to know.
You don't want to know, right?
No.
All right, we had another person that called in here. Billy? Is that Chile?
Billy, he said Chili Billy.
Chili
I'm
Billy.
sure that's probably not his name.
It's probably a little strange name. Okay, so Chili Billy says, "Is it true you used to eat raw eggs and bacon before every match?" That's kind of
that was very strange.
That's a weird question.
And I don't know whether to ask it or not.
Well, to ask it. What the hell? I don't know.
That's not true.
Okay.
I was hoping that wasn't true. That's pretty sick.
Were you ever asked that before, Tito, or is that just something that?
No, it's probably somebody being cute.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks, guys, for wasting our time.
Yeah, thanks for wasting our time. Well, I don't know. With these callers, you never know sometimes.
That's true.
Yeah. But, Tito, let's go back a little bit, obviously. You had some fame back in the day in the AWA, and then you moved over to the World Wrestling Federation, won the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. You had some great matches and some great feuds. Greg Valentine is one of those that rings true in my head, and even the one with Macho Man, which I think was kind of short-lived and whatnot. What do you remember most about wrestling Greg? Because, Greg has always been known for being just a hard hitter, no nonsense type of guy, and didn't really have a lot of great scientific moves, but he was pretty darn thick and tough in the ring. What do you remember mostly about wrestling Greg?
Well, Greg was like a pit bull. I mean, you laid on him pretty good, and he'd laid on you pretty good, and he would just keep on coming, and I would just be fighting for my life. After my matches, I would tell my wife I had much easier street fights than I do with Greg every night, and I think that's why the angle got over so good, because the people really believed our matches, because they were pretty close to real.
Wow.
Other than the outcomes, we used to get in there and we used to beat the heck out of each other. And,
yes.
We gave the fans their money's worth every night.
Wow. Yeah, you sure did. And was he also? Was he your like toughest guy that you ever wrestled, or was there somebody that you remember being? Who do you remember? Let me ask you this: Who was the toughest, most physical guy that you remember wrestling?
Well, probably the toughest guy, and I would say in my era, everybody would say that it was King Tonga.
King Tonga? Yeah.
Yeah. How cool! I mean, he nobody would even come close to that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care who it was. I mean, they wouldn't stand a chance.
Yeah, he was tough, legit inside the ring and outside the ring too. I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And who do you consider like being in the ring and having a night off, like they say? I mean, do you remember someone that you just felt like, man, this is like wrestling air? He's just so good. I mean, I've heard names like Ted DiBiase and Bob Orton. I mean, who do you put up there?
Probably, my best matches that I had personally were with Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah.
But they were not night off. I mean, there was another, a brutal match that we used to. It was pretty physical with me and him, and people also believe those matches, pretty much. But I would say Kurt Hennig was Mr. Perfect was probably, where you could hardly feel him in the ring, and the match, the psychology was fantastic, and it was literally a night off. We worked hard. I mean, he works hard, but he was a lot less physical.
Yeah, he was one of the best. I mean, I love Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. I mean, he just turned into such a fine athlete and talent. We only got a few more minutes here to talk to Tito, so if you still want to give some calls into Joe here, we'll take one or two more phone calls to pass on to Tito. The phone number is 480-745-1033. That's 480-745-1033. Lines are open, so dial quickly and dial carefully. And if you've got a good question or comment to pass on to Tito, we'll be happy to do that. You also mentioned, I talked about, having a night off, and I know that that's not to be disrespectful, because I mean that, may say something about the person you're working. But wrestling, it just seemed like you talked about your feud with Paul Orndorff when you wrestled him. I mean, there was so much believability. I just went back the other day and I saw the match again with you and him at the Chicago Classic, at the Wrestling Classic in '85. And that was about as a good pro wrestling match that I've seen, because it was a lot of holds, a lot of takedowns, and a lot of psychology by saying, we are wrestling a wrestling match. Like you said to me one time, the marquee says wrestling, and that's what you've given us. And do you remember that whole Wrestling Classic event pretty well?
Oh, yeah. Mr. Wonderful. I mean, again, we used to go in there and I mean, a lot of times they asked me, what percentage of wrestling was fake, and when I wrestle guys like Mr. Wonderful and Greg Valentine, I usually say, it's 90% real. It was pretty. People believed it because it was, it was pretty close to real.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much the only thing that we knew was the outcome, and we'd go in there and. We knew that we had to entertain the people. We made money by the crowds, and
sure.
They had to believe what we were doing in the ring for them to want to pay, spend money to come see us wrestle. So we gave it all out. We wrestle for every individual in that stadium or that arena. Because we felt that everyone that came deserved, a good match.
Yeah. Now, I think we talked the last time we had you on the program, but I kind of wanted to ask again because, to be honest with you, I just don't remember the exact answer you gave. When Martel split with you and he turned heel and Strikeforce, eventually dissolved, was there ever talk about you turning heel?
No, I asked Vince if I could be the heel. When I found out that Rick was coming back.
Right.
But they had already, before Rick came back, I didn't know about it, but it was all set up that he was going to come back as a model, and everything was already all planned out. And, I was going to have a short-lived angle with him. I think him and I could have done a lot of business because of the split that we had, but it just wasn't planned that way. I mean, I do feel that, and I would have meetings with Vince, and I would say, Vince, I just don't feel that you're using me to the best of my, of what I have to offer for you, and I don't know why. I mean, I don't know. I could never tell you the answer to that, but I just felt that I had so much more to. I mean, I proved to him that I could sell tickets. Me and Greg did some unbelievable business, and I defended the title against Roddy Piper, and we drew money, and Mr. Wonderful, and we drew money, and I knew that I could draw, but I just don't know why. Because to me, I felt like I I was as good in the ring as a babyface as anybody at the time. You know, I'm not going to say that I was better, but I was as good as anybody out there.
Oh, without a doubt. I think you carried yourself so well by just portraying that, and I think that a lot of your real personality and your real persona and your real likability as a person away from the cameras in the wrestling ring went into your character, and I think that that's what made it so good and so believable. I mean, that's just my opinion. I want to also talk. I want to do one more call in here because I want to make sure she gets in here. This is a really cool question and comment. Ruby from Newark, New Jersey, and I don't think Newark's too far from you, is it?
No, not at all.
Okay. Well, she says this. She says, I'm going to visit my family, which is close to your hair salon. She says, is it possible to have you cut my hair? That is on my bucket list, and I love you always. So that's kind of cool from Ruby there in Newark. So if you want to plug your salon, please feel yeah. If you want to plug your salon and the phone number and the location, please feel free to do that. And let's first of all answer Ruby's question: do you yourself cut hair still, or have you ever, or whatever? You know.
Well, I've never cut hair.
Okay.
I mean, if she wants me to cut a lock off her hair, we do have we have a lot of real good hairdressers. And if she ever wants to come down on the week,
okay.
We're not open on Sunday. We're open on Saturday.
Okay.
And our phone number is 973-584-1996.
Okay.
If she wants me to cut her hair, I'll cut it.
There you go.
But,
so
you know, we're going to have somebody else fix it for her. But I only live 2 miles away from our hair salon. My hair salon is located at the Roxbury Mall in Roxbury, New Jersey.
Okay.
And I think I just gave the number. You know.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to repeat it later on, you can.
Let me do it really quick right now if I can. 973-584-1996. If you want to get a good haircut by one of the greatest Intercontinental champions of all time, that's 973-584-1996. You said by the Roxbury Mall. Is that what you said, Tito?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. And Joe, you were going to say
I didn't write it all down because she was pretty long-winded, but
that's okay.
She was telling me, absolutely. Yeah. I like to listen to hear what they have to say.
Sure.
She was telling me she has a big, giant display of Tito in her some kind of family room where she has like her wrestling Hall of Fame stuff of her own.
Right.
And she wants to she's got like a ponytail she's been growing for 17 years.
Wow.
She wants him to cut that off and then she's going to stick it in this place that she's got, and that's part of her bucket list, she said.
Well, there you go. Now, have you ever done something like that, Tito? Have you ever had to cut someone's hair like that for any reason?
Yeah, but I've shaved somebody's head. Brian.
Wow.
Brian, was the number that I gave 584-1996?
That is correct.
Okay, because I have my home number and
oh boy, no,
I
got your home number and that stays with me private. I never share that with anybody. I would never do that.
You'd already know it'd be ringing off the hook.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, any customer that ever wants to come out, you know, for me to meet him, you know, I have 8x10s that I give away to all the customers. And
oh wow,
I'd be more than happy to meet him in our salon. I personally, I know my wife. I work there. I teach, and from 3 to 7 o'clock on Tuesdays. Mm-hmm. I work there personally. So if any student wants to come, you know, I'll sign autographs for them then.
Nice.
But if, you know, on the weekends, if anybody ever wants to, you know, make an appointment, and you know, if I'm around, if I'm not out of town, I'll be more than happy to. You know, to come down and visit with them.
Cool. So you do get a lot of people who just come to the salon just to see you exclusively. I mean, it probably happens quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fans that know where my salon is, and you know, they come, you know, and visit.
Very cool. That's awesome. Well, listen, Tito, we're running out of time here on the show. I would love, you know, you and I could talk for 2 hours, man. You're such an easy person to speak with, and we're always honored to have you on. And I always appreciate when I call you and ask you to come on the program, and you're always very nice to us, and you talk to me, you know, as a friend, and I appreciate that. So thank you so much for always being yourself. And if you could let us go with maybe just a little bit of a special goodbye with Tito, with a little bit of Arriba in there, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay. I want to say thanks to all the wrestling fans that have supported me for all these years. And if I'm ever anywhere doing a show, please come by and see me and talk to me about some of my matches in the past. And I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Arriba!
I love it. That Arriba still sounds good even to this day, Tito. God bless you, my friend. I hope you and your family have a wonderful new year here, and we'll do this again sometime in a few months. How does that sound?
Sounds good, brother. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Tito. You take good care, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
There you go, Tito Santana, one of the greatest, man. He's a hell of a guy, good gentleman, and, I echo what Brian Blair said about him and Lanny Poffo. And, it's good, Joe, to have people like that who have busted their ass inside the ring over the years.
Oh, yeah.
And like he said, he always, went out there each and every night and competed for the wrestling fans. And to me, that's a hell of a thing. So let's go ahead, and we're going to give away. I just want to make sure everybody who wanted to do this is in here. So,
I asked everybody unless they hung up before I was
that's
done.
fine. I'm making sure the ones that said yes, they want to be in the drawing. Now, listen, if you...
What about the people that didn't get to... what about the people that didn't get through? At one point, if you hear a beep, that means we have more than 15 lines ringing.
Which is amazing, and I'll do this. I will do this. Here's what I'm going to do. I've got prizes to give away. I'm going to give away the big prize tonight, okay, from the people who got through. Now, here's what I'll also do. For those of you who either got through and I didn't announce your name at the end as the winner, or even if you didn't get through and you tried calling or whatever, I'm going to give away 5 other prizes, okay?
Oh, nice.
Now, I'm going to dig deep into my vault because, Joe, I've got a huge vault.
Huge.
It's a huge vault. I've been told about how nice and huge my vault is over the years.
Let's not get into that.
No, but seriously, I've got a lot of cool things, okay? And I will definitely be happy.
We're talking about memorabilia.
Right. I'll be very happy to dig in there and find something. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to give away the grand prize to the people who called in. I'm going to take a piece of paper. You're going to draw the winner at random, blindfolded, with the gag ball in your mouth. And
let me get my leather outfit on first.
Go get that on. Get the gimp. Go get the gimp. Anyway, so we're going to do that. And if you are the winner of this, I'm going to go ahead and give it to you. Now, what I'm also going to do is if you want to get in and be involved, the first 5 people that send me emails to the same address will get something special as well, okay? And we'll be happy to do that because I think you make a good point, Joe. So, okay, I've got these all turned down, face down. And if you want to go ahead, I'm going to mix them up a little bit here. You pick out the lucky winner of our contest for today. And, Joe, you're going to
Rico Bongiorno.
Rico Bongiorno!
I didn't. That's not a real name.
Okay, actually, the winner today is Brandon from, is that Wamberg, Nebraska? You wrote that.
Half the time I can't hear them. I think it says
Well, we'll just say Brandon.
Warborough? I don't know.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter.
I write fast.
We'll just
Sorry.
say, Brandon, you got your question is, you were the one that said, can we stop by and still get an autograph anywhere? Love your high-flying genius. You called in when we had Lanny Poffo on the phone. So, Brandon, who called in when we had Lanny, you're from Nebraska. Not sure what city this is, but regardless, Brandon from Nebraska, just make sure that you send me an email and just say that this is you, and I'm going to send you a very, very special gift. I'm just
and
gonna
put
it like
the word corn in the upper right-hand corner.
Put corn.
Just kidding.
No, I don't. There's more than corn in Nebraska. Yeah, you damn right there is. So, Brandon, you're our lucky big winner for this week. Congratulations on that. So, Brandon, you got to get ready and send me an email, and I'm going to send you something very special. Okay?
Value $299.95.
It's less than that.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
more than that. Whatever. No, but
Okay.
we will never share any addresses either like that. We don't do that. We're just trying to make it happy and get you something out in the door there. So, Brandon from Nebraska, you're our lucky grand prize winner. Send me an email, and 5 other people are going to also win. The first 5 after Brandon will also get something special from off the top rope. Whether you made it on the air, whether you tried calling, whether you listened,
Excellente.
all you got to do is get on your computer and do it. Here's how we do it. You send me an email directly, Brian, B-R-I-A-N. That's my name, Brian, B-R-I-A-N, at KQCKlive.com. That's all one big word.
even if you didn't get through on the phone.
Yeah, that's
you
right.
can still shoot an email and
Right, exactly.
have a chance to win some. Now, if he gets 10,000, he's going to have to pick 5 out.
Yeah, well, I know. I'm going to take the first 5. So
The first 5.
the first
Now
5 that I
that-
get. Yeah, the first 5 I get. So you got to be quick on this. Brian, B-R-I-A-N, at KQCK. That's K like in king, Q like in queen, C like in cat, K like in
Well, if they
king
can hear
again.
you, they know that.
Live.com. Brian, B-R-I-A-N, at KQCKlive.com. That's how you reach us, okay? You want to send Joe one? Same thing, Joe at KQCKlive.com. But he's not going to give anything for an autograph or a cool wrestling thing.
You never know.
will.
I might send him a picture of me.
No, well, that
Or a
would,
picture of you.
they may make sure there's return postage on it.
Hey, you know
but,
what's up.
yeah, so Brandon, you're our lucky winner from Nebraska, so you go ahead and send me an email. Anybody else who wants to get involved, I'm going to pick the first 5 people that I get. I'm going to throw them in an envelope. I'm going to mail them out to you. Make sure you include your address, guys, so I can go ahead and get this out to you. So, again, Brian, B-R-I-A-N, I know a lot of times people spell Brian Brain. I'm not going to get it if you put Brain. I appreciate the comment, but I'm not going to get it. Brian at kqcklive.com. So I want to see some emails. I want to hear what you guys got to say. If you have any questions or comments or whatever, we still love to have your emails. Visit us on Facebook, Off the Top Rope Radio. I got a picture of me and Hulk Hogan on the front. That's how you know it's me. Like our page, please. Go to KQCK Radio as well and like our page there as well with the radio station. Always fine entertainment, always fine music right here on KQCK Radio Station.
Who's crying now?
Journey, I think, is who's crying now.
That would be right.
We got to get out of here. God bless everybody. Take good care. Be safe. We'll be back next week with a great interview as well.
It's been a mystery.